Yo, Sanjay Uchiha here, people. Ready to give you my review on Samurai Jack. Yes, the return of the great series from our childhood, people. Season 5, Episode 1. And going into this episode, I was pretty hyped. My expectations were up. I had been following all the promos and trailers and behind the scenes, and trust me, did this episode deliver? Um, so kind of just getting into it. The general premise. I I'm pretty sure a lot of you have probably seen the episode already if you're Jack fans, but this review will contain spoilers. So yeah, get into it. So it's been 50 years apparently since the end of the last season, and apparently as a result of time travel, we get a new tidbit of information that Jack is apparently, I guess you could say, immortal, or probably not immortal, but let's just say he doesn't age. But his new design, I'm really liking the whole beard and all. It's pretty cool. So we get to see him continuing his journey to actually vanquish Aku as he travels throughout the landscape. As the episode starts, we're greeted with this mother and daughter running from some, your typical robots. Well, in this case, bug robots or whatever. And we have Jack riding in from the distance, coming in, and of course, surprisingly, he doesn't have a sword. We see him using weapons, guns, which is, I must say, a very, it's really refreshing to see, honestly. And not only that, this this in itself is really like a reflection of the fact that the series has it's become darker in tone essentially, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's actually a good thing because the fact that this series started back in 2001 and it's been what 10 plus years since season 4, it kind of makes it feel like the show itself has aged with us, the viewers, because we aren't kids anymore. Those of us that watched Samurai Jack back in the day. So this is actually a plus to the episode, definitely. Um, and of course, even seeing the state Jackson, that's really a plus for the episode as well. So we have Jack taking out the robots, of course, and then riding back into the distance, traversing. He's continuing his journey, but of course, it's through his travels that we see in the episode that we see his mental state and essentially yes, the new state of his character, which apparently he's hallucinating, he's having doubts, his psyche is it's crumbling, it's falling apart. He thinks he's seeing hallucination of his father, his family, his village, his fellow village people from back in the past, and it really speaks volumes to his character at this point, that he feels that he's basically let everyone down. So characterization is definitely a plus. Um, well, at this point, specifically, I guess you could say character development. I mean, 50 years is a long time, people, so I can just imagine. So that was definitely pretty interesting to see in the episode as well. Um, what else was interesting to say the least? The arts in every like the anime. It's a good old animation we're used to. Where Jack is concerned, there weren't any problems like that. This isn't Dragon Ball Super we're talking about. Oh, shots fired, whatever. But yeah, seriously speaking though, the art was pretty good. I loved it. It's the usual, um, well crafted landscapes that we're used to from the old days, or even better, I'd say. Even the use of the camera angles in some scenes were pretty spot on. I love that. But what was really interesting, the big bad Aku himself, is that we never really got to see him, and it's interesting that we don't. It kind of builds this air of mystery, for the start of this new season, I must say. And to even add to that, we get to see that there's this cult that's apparently worshiping Aku, and apparently Aku now has 7 daughters. So it kind of reminds me of the which one? What was it? This recent Teen Titans movie. I think it was from last year. I think Teen Titans versus the Justice League, and you know, with the whole matter with Trigon and this cult that was worshiping him, and the woman that had Trigon's baby, which would have been Raven. So it kind of gave me that kind of vibe. So I would suspect it's the same thing here. So yeah, we have seven daughters, and apparently Aku is miss. Well, alright, I wouldn't say missing in action, but I'll get to that. But yeah, seven daughters, and it's interesting. And what makes it interesting is that Jack's villains, um, a lot of the times they tend to be robots or creatures. We've had our humanoid characters that we can kind of just, in a sense, kind of like, or I wouldn't necessarily say relate to, but you can say, hey, you see this character and you like him, then fine, yeah. But really and truly, this is the first that will be ever be seen Jack going up against human characters. Not really, well, as villains, like, because I get the impression that these seven daughters will be long running villains for this season. So we get to see a birthing scene for them and their training, because their mom has apparently instilled in them that their mission is to kill the samurai, of course. So this is going to be an interesting season, to say the least, because the way it's setting up, they they're being raised to think that Jack is just this guy that's going out and wrecking havoc. Like, sorry guys, wrecking havoc against all over their father's land and whatever. So I'm gonna predict that eventually, towards the end of the season, the girls are gonna realize the true nature of the whole conflict between Jack and Aku, and they'll probably be instrumental in actually stopping Aku in the end. I mean, the season just starts. It's kind of weird to be making a prediction like that, but I'm kind of putting that out there from now. But yeah, so eventually we kind of get we get to see things from both their perspectives, from Jack and the girls. So we go back to Jack, and he's continuing his travels, continuing to hallucinate. And one thing that kind of stood out within the hallucination was this samurai on a horse, the silhouette of him, well, this shadowy figure essentially. And whenever Jack saw him within his hallucinations, he would actually freak out. So I'm wondering who this samurai is, or this character in general, because obviously Jack himself wasn't ever afraid of Aku, so for someone to even scare him, it speaks volumes. Dang it. But yeah, so eventually we get to see Jack go up against this mercenary that Aku's favorite, our best mercenary, so to speak, whatever. And we read really a nice fight scene there. Um, of course, Jack. They do point out that he doesn't have his sword, the mercenary himself, and we're greeted with a flashback, of Jack losing the sword. Um, I didn't watch all of the first four seasons. I watched quite a bit, but I would suspect that that flashback that we got may have been from the final fights in season four. So I'm guessing that's the case. So we get to see Jack go up against this stone monster that the mercenary puts out. Yeah, apparently he's like this. I wouldn't say rapping, but he self-proclaimed, I guess, musician. And you know, Jack, well, not quickly, but creatively gets rid of the stone monster and proceeds to combat the mercenary himself, and eventually takes him out. It was kind of cool to see, and this is what I was saying earlier. Aku was missing, but not really, because the mercenary actually called Aku at one point, and Jack just kind of destroyed the phone. So it's kind of iffy if where and when Aku even is, because for his daughter to be born and we don't see him even make a mention of being there in person, and for the girl's mother to be saying that it was just basically implied that Aku was missing. So I don't know. So eventually, after Jack gets rid of the mercenary, we see that the girl's training is done, and I'm wondering how long does this episode take place? What's the time span? Is that like because of Aku's influence? Do these girls just grow fast, or what? But all in all, after that, the girls head out to start their mission of actually eliminating Jack. And that's your episode, really and truly. As I said, this episode was really good. I honestly love it. It's a great return to, and it's a great return of an old friend, I must say. And the move to Adult Swim, which allows them to actually have more freedom in terms of the nature of the content they can show, being, I guess, more gritty, more dark. It does wonders for the show, and I guess the point in time where Jack is now in terms of is like the move to Adult Swim and the, I guess, the darkened tone of it is a great reflection of Jack's evolution of a character at this point and his level of, despair and disappointment that he feels within himself. So all in all, I have to give this episode a 9, probably a 9.5. Yeah, or I don't want to say a 10. I mean, there wasn't really anything I didn't particularly like when I think about it, but probably if I had actually seen a coup or something else. But it does help to build mystery, so I'd say, yeah, 9.6. It was a really great episode. Action was there. I loved it. It was good to see Jack making use of something other than his sword, seeing him in a new position. And of course, you can expect weekly reviews for Samurai Jack on this channel. So if you haven't subscribed, subscribe, share this video out, and help me welcome back Samurai Jack, people. I'll see you in the next one.